Unstoppable Doom Patrol issue 7. Dennis Culver with Chris Burnham on the art. We actually finally had a cliffhanger last issue. You know, after most of these issues of this series have been relatively standalone, all with a few connective things in the background. The last issue was very much the first half of what the end game story was, which is the candle maker using Dorothy to come back into the world in some way, along with the Emperor dude. So yeah, that's kind of like where we start off this issue. It you know, does a little bit of a recap of like some of those core beats from the past Doom Patrol stories, but quite quickly we're back into this position where it's Robot Man and Niles and a couple of them taking on them. Meanwhile, the Chief and everyone else are still fighting all the various villains back in the mansion. There is some fun stuff here though with the Clue. Like, they basically keep saying different colors of lightning because everything. So she was firing lightning at them. So someone said, "Oh, you know,
green lightning,
yeah, green
blue
lightning, blue lightning."
Yeah.
So the lightning keeps changing. They keep having to like counter with saying them. That's kind of fun. Although basically the Chief pulls the Clue into her head, and she gets to interact with some of the other personalities.
So you've read more Doom Patrol than I have, right? I was feeling that this is definitely building on at least Morrison's with a lot of the stuff that's happening, right? Like the stuff with Dorothy.
Yeah.
Because of,
I never got to that stuff in Morrison's run, but that is definitely some of the bigger stuff later on, I think.
And then just my vague familiarity with the Doom Patrol and them being pulled into a painting.
Yeah, that's Morrison's run too, yeah.
Right. So that's where the quiz comes from. She was the painter, right? And when they escaped, it kind of, from my understanding of reading this, that's what turned her into the quiz, right? So she can basically change reality because of that, but because the painting got destroyed, it sent her into this different personality, which is why the Chief / Jane is kind of able to break through to her.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure I read all that.
I mean, it's been a long time since I read that stuff, so I think that's what I got from this issue as well, though.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure that's what I was reading, because they're throwing a lot of stuff here that is kind of, not that it's necessary to read the Doom Patrol, but they are playing off of that kind of being familiar enough with these characters.
I think, you know, I said last time that I think issue 6 was probably the weakest issue of the book so far, just because there was so much going on and so much of it was fighting.
Yep.
And I think that extends somewhat to this issue as well, is that I think these last two issues, despite the fact that they're the big ending, it's probably the two that I've enjoyed the least, just because it is a lot more going on and less individual focus to really building some core ideas up that gets to pay off. I think if I had just read Morrison's run and then went straight into this, I'd probably enjoy these last couple issues a lot more, just because I'd be getting more of the things that it's doing. But it is doing a lot of stuff in these last two issues, for sure. And
I mean, the idea of the Candlemaker, General Immortus, right, becoming this new being, and because it's this egregore thought form and stuff. Again, that's very Doom Patrol. So I do like it tying into that.
Becoming the new Candlemaker or merging. It's just like they needed Dorothy's body, because Dorothy's body, you know, she could create ideas with her body, and it's kind of like tapping into that somehow. But ultimately it's the quiz who alters reality to beat this new Candlemaker. And then Peacemaker with his giant mech comes in with you know, the rest of Amanda Waller's goons, and they basically, there's just another, and this felt really like we didn't really need this part, like this extra action scene for a few pages where they take down the big mech. Like, I don't know, it felt like we really could have just done with like fleshing out the other stuff a bit more.
Yeah, taking more time, because you have Negative Man jumping around with Mento, right? And I wish we could have gotten more with that to kind of explain, you know, the reason that Mento's in this tank is because he had pushed too far, right? And he didn't want to do it again. So this was kind of like his barrier. And I wish we would have had more time with that instead of speeding through it. That said, I do like the team up of Beast Girl and what's his name? Degenerate, right? Where he is like, oh, do that thing that you did to me again, where you just unleash everything. You know, the thing that I never told you to do, so you can go fight these mechs. I do like that because their relationship over the last, bunch of issues has been nice.
Like I will say, at the end of that scene, though, it does say, "Playing Black Box, the Doom Patrol will return," and I was happy to see that. That makes me excited that there's maybe plans for more with this creative team. Because I have really liked this series. I think the first 5 issues, I kind of loved them low-key. And it's just these last 2, it felt like they were trying to stuff in so much that by not doing the typical arc thing where they were setting them all up a bit more, as a focus throughout the book, it did mean that these last 2 issues felt a bit overstuffed and rushed. And I just wish that if we do get more, hopefully whatever their end game is that they're planning will get a bit more breathing room in whatever form it takes. But I still enjoyed these last 2 issues. I just don't think that they were as strong as all those 5 mostly standalone issues that felt a lot more, just well paced, room to breathe, not overstuffed.
Because we spent so much time with
but also that sweet mix of the that sense of like fun but also tragedy and heart that the Doom Patrol tend to bring. That's a really nice balance. Like, I think those first 5 issues did a really good job of having that in good amounts.
Well, and I was gonna say too, the stuff with Velvet and the amount of time that we got for that to be, the Peacemaker story and the Waller stuff to be kind of tacked on here at the end when we had spent so much time, not trusting all of that. It was just a little bit weird of a choice to do the Candlemaker ending, instead of teasing that for later.
There's an epilogue though, because the Candlemaker, in another space between the universes, what they're calling the Bleed, that's where they end up, this new Candlemaker. And when they land, they encounter the Batwoman who laughs.
I groaned. Also, they're on Danny the Street, right?
It looked like Danny the Street to me, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we did, which by the way, this Batwoman that laughs has like an infinity gauntlet on her hand. I just want to point that out. So we did see this character before, right? That was it was earlier in this run.
Was it in Doom Patrol? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. What book was it in?
Yeah.
Where did we see Batwoman who laughs before?
I'll look because I remember seeing her.
Yeah, I remember her showing up. Was it? It wasn't the 1 Minute War, was it? It wasn't in Flash. No, that was a different character. Yeah, just what our first appearance is, basically.
It was Justice League Incarnate. So it was the JLI.
That's interesting. They're bringing her in here, which I agree. I'm not thrilled at the prospect of more of this character. We don't need more Batwoman who laughs, but well, I guess we'll see what they do with it.
I mean, the fact that she's in the Bleed, that lines up with the Justice League Incarnate stuff, right? It's the place between. It's kind of a blind spot, and I guess if we're gonna deal with like evil thought form type stuff, Doom Patrol is a proper.
I just like if we're getting more Doom Patrol from this team, and I hope we do. Like I might be a little bummed out if we're going to make the main villain of it the Batwoman who laughs.
I would be okay with it as soon as the Batwoman who laughs shows up, Cliff just punches her out and that's it. It's one of those type moments. I'd be okay with that because I feel like they're playing with our expectations here.
So. I think it's a fine enough issue. I liked a lot of individual moments, but it's definitely not as good as the first 5 issues by any means. All right, what are you rating Unstoppable Doom Patrol, Matt?
I'm gonna give this a 7.
I think it's probably about a 6.5 for me this issue.
Okay.